Hola todos! Today we're in my studio and I'm going to show you the process that I use to write these Taino songs. So these different rap songs that I've been writing, it has actually been for practicing my Taino. So the vocabulary and the language, it's a form of practicing by making it applicable to modern day. So these are the three main books that I would recommend for learning the Taino language. Some of these do require you to know English and Spanish. So as you can see, these books translate from Spanish into Taino and vice versa. So you need to know Spanish for some of these. But this one I would highly recommend, and it pretty much discusses the same as this book. And it's by an actual linguist. So he discusses not only the Taino language, but how it also relates to other varieties of indigenous languages in the Caribbean. So this whole introduction, it's extremely knowledgeable, and I think it's just imperative to learning the nuances of this language and keeping it alive. Now this next one is pretty much a dictionary, but it is a little bit difficult to use for applicability. So inside you can see it's a dictionary of all these different Taino words. However, it's from Taino into Spanish, so it's difficult to look up a certain word. So if you need to know what the translation for a hammock is, you can't just look that up. You have to already have known what the word in Taino is, which is hamaca. So it's a little bit difficult to use because if you're trying to translate something, it's only one way from Taino into Spanish and not from Spanish into Taino. So I think it's really important to have as a great resource, but I wish they had the other way for the vice versa. So this is my process. First, I have someone make the beat for me online, so I've requested for people on TikTok to make it for me, and in my notebook I will have all my notes for what I want to write. So I will write down lyrics first in English and then I'll translate it into Taino. And it's a little difficult because you have to make it rhyme, right? So this is the first draft of what I had. Sorry, I kind of stapled it onto here. But I will write kind of ideas for lyrics and then work on translating it. So it's okay if your notes look a little bit messy when you're trying to learn other languages, as long as it helps you to learn and to increase that fluency. I think is really helpful. So there's like certain ideas lyrically that I wanted to translate, and then once I figured out what that was in the translation, I was able to organize it into a song here. So these are the same lyrics now organized into a song, and then with the rhyming being in Taino. So I'm not worried about it rhyming in English because I ultimately need it to rhyme in Taino. And I found that was the hardest thing about this. That was the most difficult part, honestly. So if you're also interested in learning the Taino language, I would recommend just get yourself any standard notebook, and then there are references online, so you don't need to outright buy these books, but I would highly, highly recommend it because it's just so useful to have this physically. And I just found these on Amazon, so I think this one's the most priciest one. I'll put the price up on the video here. And then this one I would also highly, highly recommend. So it's between these two. You can pretty much make up sentences because it has all the syntax, the pronouns, everything that you'll need just to make sentences. And then you just use that applicability in your daily life for the things that you want to say. So firstly, before we do anything, before I'm writing down anything, we need a beat for the song. So I requested for people on TikTok to make a beat for me, and luckily enough, a beatboxer replied, and here's the beat that he made. So, while listening to that beat, I kind of get in my mind that we might want to do something with a repetitive chorus. So that gives me ideas, and that way I can brainstorm, what do I want to say first? Okay, so now that I have a rough idea of what I want for my lyrics, I try to keep it short so then that way I can elaborate. And keep in mind that this isn't going to be the final draft of it. In fact, some of the wording may change as well. So the way that we speak in English, it doesn't exactly translate to Taino. And it's not going to rhyme in English because we need it to rhyme in Taino. So this is a generalized concept of what we're going to sing about. And then we can elaborate, we can fix it up, we can switch around some stuff. I already made a mark that I'm going to switch these two around. That way can give us a song structure. And I'm also thinking ahead to what words I already know or what words I can already translate, because there's going to be certain things that I don't know the words of, but I'm going to try to use what knowledge that these books can give me. And there's even a part in these books that help you to invent words in Taino by using the knowledge that they already have. So that's super helpful too. I will say though that on the back of this one there is a Spanish to Taino vocabulary dictionary, so that is super helpful. I just wish that it was available in this one as well. Okay, so I think the closest that I could find to the English translation would literally translate to, today I elaborate on who I am. Sokai dak anha harai daka. And we're basically going to do this whole process for all of this. This is why we wanted to keep it short anyway. Now I think in context of the song, I'm going to switch these two here. So this will be the first line and this one will be the second line. So we're going to switch these two. So then that way it's like posing a question. Who are you? What's your name? Today I will elaborate on who I am. Now, luckily, some of these books we can cheat and have the literal translation for what's your name? ¿Cuál es tu nombre? So here it is right here. That would be the Taino version. So that one was pretty straightforward. We're just copying and pasting. Haralu Buk Anulia. What's your name? And we're actually going to do the same thing with the second line. So it's a little bit of cheating again. My name is Dak Anulia. And as you can see, Anulia, Anulia. That is the Taino word for name. So we're just transferring that part and changing it to Ata Bay. Dak Anulia. Ata Bay. And this is a pun because if you know the semi-spirit Atabe, it's spelled differently. It's actually spelled like Atabe, like that. But we're making a pun. This is a multilingual pun. Okay, as for the next line, let's party, let's dance, we can look into the dictionary again. There's a word for festejar. This is hacer una fiesta, reunión, baile, música. So it would be guateque. So if we want to say let's party, let's dance, we can go into this book for keeping the Taino language alive, and they have different pronouns, and those pronouns can be used in order to make a verb conjugation. So the one for we is going to be guato. So here we're going to write guateque, and then let's dance. We can look right here, it says bailar, and there's two different options, so that's important to know just in case we need to rhyme it differently. Gua, aragua, ga, and I'm just going to write them both just in case. Gua, oyona, and that means to dance. So as for the line, our ancestors are watching us, this is something that I translated previously, so I can show you on the page. It would be our grandfathers, gua arokoel, and to know that they are also listening. And so because of that context, we're also going to put let's sing, let's party, let's dance. So we're going to add that to the end here. The word for sing, cantar, iraja. And okay, I'll be really real. I'm literally in the middle of translating this. And, I wanted to repeat this line, what's my name? They call me Atabe. What's my name? Let me introduce myself. They call me Atabe. Just so it would make sense in the song, repeating itself over the beat. But as I'm looking through this other book here, so this is the Keeping the Taino Language Alive book, it immediately contradicts the other one. So what is my name? I initially had haralu buk anulia, right? But then here it says, your name is what? And it says, bu iri ka at. And I don't know which one to use, which one is the proper one to use. But it seems like this would be easier to say, so my bias is gonna use the simplified version. But this is just, honestly, I'm being completely real, it's difficult trying to translate this, especially because it's something that we're trying to reconstruct. We're trying to put together this language and trying not to let it die out due to colonization and literally trying to eradicate our language and our people. So it's difficult, but I'm giving it my all. I'm giving it my best. So my only guess would be that this version might be, what are you called? Or something along those lines, because I know the book is referring to you, Anulia is referring to the name, and haralu might mean what. So this might not make sense in the context, as in, the question like who, what, where, why, that sort of thing. So it might translate better to use this version, because bu iri, your name, it might make more sense in that form of a question, sort of how you casually ask somebody for their name. So again, we're going back and making changes, and that's just totally normal. This is all part of the process. I'm not only trying to write a song, I'm also using this exercise of writing a song to understand the language. This is the whole reason why I wanted to write these songs, so I can try to learn these languages a bit more. And in context of writing the song is helping me to understand the grammar and the vocabulary. You're learning a whole lot by doing this. So in this first line, what's your name? It's someone else asking me, what is your name? So we're gonna basically copy and paste Bu iri kakat. Your name is what? Bu iri kakat. Accent mark. Also, side note, the pronunciation, like the little markings that we use, it sort of just helps you to relate, saying this is connecting in a word, and that's the same reason why I may write the little markings a little bit differently. So bu iri has to refer to your name is what. So it helps me to understand. So the way that we connect it can either be through, apostrophes or dash marks. Just know that there's no real formal way. I've seen people make dash marks in between like a whole bunch of these to connect into one big conjugated word. So there's no right or wrong way of doing this, because the Taino people didn't even have a written form, a written alphabet or written language. They just had an oral language. So it's however helps you to remember which part is connected to what. So now that we have what's your name, I'm going to put what's my name, and that's super easy to change. So we're just going to put da in the beginning, so that iri kakat. What's my name? And then these next two lines we're copying and pasting. It helps to have a repeating rhythm. This way we can just kind of copy and paste the chorus. From the ocean, salt water, daquarico, bagua, baguani. So bagua meaning the ocean, and then ni at the end meaning water, so ocean water. Sharks are my friends. If you know Spanish, you also know that the word sharks in Spanish, tiburon, little accent mark there, is the same word from Taino. So tiburon means sharks. We're going to plural, put the no at the end to make it plural. Na meaning them, the sharks. Waha is possessive for me, da, which is the word for me. So they, possessive to me, and tiao is friend. Tiburon no na, waha da tiao. The sharks, they are my friend. And then next he created. We don't have the word for create, but we do have a word for do or make. So that would be lu yani, he does or he makes. All we have to do is add the past tense for created. So lu yani ba. Then we're going to look for fish on our list of animals. Pez, that means fish in Spanish. Himekabi. I basically have to translate through 3 different languages just for this one song. Himekabi. Let's look for the word in, as in they habitate inside of the ocean. Prepositions. Here we go. A or a estar en, meaning to be inside of. So moon is the right word that we're going to use. So himekabi, the fish, moon, they are inside of the ocean, which we already know the word is bagua. He created the fish in the sea. Lu yaniba himekabi moon bagua. So what this means is it's a reference to the other semi-spirit, Yayael. So if you know about the Taino semi-spirits, Yayael is the spirit of the Caribbean Sea. His body basically turned into the ocean inside of a potisa pot. So he was trapped inside of the pot, and then when they opened up the pot, outpoured all the animals like the fish and all the sea creatures and the Caribbean Sea. So he basically is the Caribbean Sea. That's something that I like to do in these songs, is to make references to the Taino spirits or to Taino culture, so then that way people that know these stories can catch these references. So now that I have a rough translation of this song lyric, we're going to listen to that beat again. Okay, so I took the time to listen to the beatboxing. That way I can get a good account of the rhythm to know just how long I need to take to say each and every single line to see if it's going to fit within that rhythm. So what I did is I essentially took each line and I numbered it. So it's creating the structure not only of the rhyming scheme, because right now we're not worrying about the rhyming, we're just trying to figure out where exactly each line is going to go in the rhythm to make sure we have enough time to say all this and still be in rhythm. So basically, we want to number each and every one of these. So, what's your name? We already established this is going to be the first thing. It's someone asking me for my name, and I'm going to say, let me introduce myself. And then this next line, I decided it'd be good to go through a straight rap of all 3 of these, and then say this one twice. So that's why I have X2 on here. So 2 times we're going to say this, which just means let's party, let's party. And then we're going to go from there, and I actually added who am I, harai daktoka, so it made sense trying to read these books one more time to try to figure out the context of that word, harai. So daktoka means I am. And it's totally normal for me to keep adding new lyrics just to help improvise or fill in the gaps that I need. So it's just part of the creative process of trying to write this song and make it cohesive and coherent. So after that, we're going to go into what's my name? Let me introduce myself. So it's repeating that rhythm and giving you a sense of a melody. So they call me Atabe. I think for this one, we're gonna say this twice, so it leads up to the anticipation of saying Atabe. So now this part was a little bit tricky because we are continuing the rhyming in the scheme just fine, but I did have to change a little bit of this verse. So from his body, meaning Yayael, sea water or salt water. So Nakwariko Iruku Bagwani. This way we can rhyme Bagwani with semi. So Hahom Yayael Bagwa Semi. So all thanks to Yayael, the ocean spirit. So this way we have a B rhyming scheme. As for the rest of the song and rhyming, a lot of these words do end in A. So daka, wairaha, daka again, bahia, daka. So that definitely does help a lot, but we do want to give it a little bit more variety. So the semi, bagwani, that's going to help a lot too. Now, one thing I do have in my notes about the Taino people is that there is a differentiation between different types of spirits. So the semi-spirits, they are spirits of nature. So they control or represent different parts of nature. And there's also opia or upia, waisa, and boya. So these would be the ghost of someone who lived before. So the spirit of an ancestor who died. Waisia is the spirit of the living, and Boya is an evil spirit or malevolent spirit. Okay, now I do think we're going to have to write a little bit more lyrics just to complete one more verse in the song. So let's get right back into it. Okay, so after a little bit more studying, here's the extra verses that I wrote. So this is the part that we're going to repeat at the end. And this is already repeating from a previous verse just to create a melody in the song for the rhythm. So my ancestors, I cannot deny. Da arokoelno, this is ancestors, and the no at the end is plural. Dakmat hiyi. So dak is me, mat is the negative, hiyi is to deny or to negate. The living spirit in my heart. Nawaisa iwa mun wahada lati. Na means them. Waisa is the living spirit. Iwa, moon, so inside of. Wahada lati, mine, possessive, and heart. And then I might make a few more adjustments just to make sure that it all fits well and it's coherent and cohesive in the song. Okay, so it's the next morning and I'm getting ready to record it. The last step is going to be to transfer everything in order, and this is the final draft of the song. So it might sound a little bit like this.
Vámonos!
Bu irika katso kai daka hania karai datoka. Gua ara gua oyona gua iraha. Wagateke, harai datoka da irika gat, sokai dak aina harai datoka. Harai datoka anulia. Atabe, tiburon non da hua da tiao, hahomia el bagua sani, luyani bahime kabi mumbagua, naguariko ba na iruku bagwani. Harai datoka sokai harai datoka, da arako elon dak mati, nawaisa iwamum wahadalati. Harai datoka da irika kat buroko buna, dakanulia. Atabe.